رب العالمين. الحمد لله الذي خلق السماوات والأرض وجعل الظلمات والنور. الحمد لله ثم الحمد لله ثم الحمد لله. لا إله إلا الله. الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. له ملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت حي لا يموت بيده الخير وهو على كل شيء قدير. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Fellow video viewers, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all what He has done for us, for having created us, for having guided us, and for having chosen the community, our community, as the best community as set for mankind. We cannot thank Him as much as He deserves, and so we do implore Him that He should accept this little thanks which we are able to give. I'm going to go straight to the point. In this video, we're going to talk a little bit about languages. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who makes languages to evolve. He's the one who taught mankind utterance. He says in the beginning of the Quran, in one of the surah, Surah Al-Rahman, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الرحمن علم القرآن خلق الإنسان علمه البيان. He created insan and He created man and He taught man utterance. And in our language and the words we use, histories are vehicled and carried and preserved. Cultures are preserved and transmuted and carried. So too, certain truths, very important truths, are also vehicled by our languages. So that in this way, with the very words which we use in society, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala right under our noses might conceal certain truths. One of these truths is the fact that there is only one God, as we read even from the Bible of our brothers, the Christians. In the book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 2 to 5, where the Almighty Allah is reported to have said, I am the Lord thy God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods beside me. You shall not make for yourself as graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in the heavens above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down to them, nor serve them. So there is only one God. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also confirms that in the Quran, where He says, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ اللَّهُ الصَّمَدُ لَمْ يَلِدْ وَلَمْ يُولَدْ وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. And even in the Vedas of the Hindus, we also have statements ascertaining that there is only one God, and that He cannot have any images or any kind of physical representation. So now, why am I insisting on this? Because it is one of the capital most important foundations of the worshippers of Allah, of the believers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here on earth. You're going to notice that many religious practices have certain symbols. One of these symbols is the cross. And I'd like to draw our attention to the fact that the cross is not a Christian symbol. The cross was first used to denote a certain ancient Babylonian god called Tammuz, who was the son of Nimrod. And later on, also in Egypt, the cross was used in order to show, carried by this kind of cross symbol was carried by the priests, and certain kings, in order to show authority in Egypt, and also to show that they are vested with certain powers to carry out, and they are representatives of the sun god. And the symbol they used to use was this. So that is the kind of cross which was used by Egyptians. So you see that in the Christian Bible, the word which is used for cross is stauros in Greek. And stauros stands for a pole, not a cross. For about 3 centuries, after the departure of Jesus Christ alayhi salam, the Christians never had any images in their church, not the cross, not anything. It's only after that that Emperor Constantine, for reasons which are too long to mention in this video, had the idea of bringing in the cross. So the reason I'm saying this is because after my little demonstration, which I'm going to show in this video, I wouldn't like our Christian brothers to think that they've been targeted in any way. No. They are, most of them, I have many friends who are Jehovah's Witnesses. They are in total agreement with everything which I'm going to say here. So with the Hindus and all the other people. So now, I'm going to show you something which has to do with the unity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'll fold the paper. But before that, I'd like to talk to you about something, about certain sleepers of Ephesus. Because the Jews, in order to test whether the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was a true messenger, were told to ask him about certain stories, among which was the story of the sleepers of Ephesus. Some people went into a cave and slept for 300 years. And they were squabbling with each other. Different groups were squabbling as to what their real number was. And in Surah Kaf, which is the surah which is linked to our modern age, verse 22 of Surah Kaf, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about this story. But He does not give the number. That's an indication that we should stop squabbling over things which are not important, but concentrate on the things which are important, which is that they slept for 300 years. So that is how someone can sleep in his grave and later on he'll be woken up. Now, if we graphically represent all the figures which are mentioned in this Surah Kaf, we notice something very interesting. See the clip which follows. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in that verse of Surah Al-Kahf, He says, يَقُولُونَ ثَلَاثَةٌ وَرَابِعُهُمْ كَلْبُهُمْ. He says they say there were three, and with their dog the fourth. So let us mark out graphically, we mark out three little circles, ثَلَاثَةٌ, and their dog the fourth. So we make out 4, the number 4 comes out, 3, 4. يَقُولُونَ خَمْسَةٌ وَسَادِسُهُمْ كَلْبُهُمْ. So there's some said they were 5, so we make out 5 circles, and their dog the 6th. رَجْمًا بِالْغَيْبِ, they are doubting concerning the unseen. يَقُولُونَ سَبْعَةٌ. Now some say they were 7, وَثَامِنُهُمْ كَلْبُهُمْ, and their dog the 8th. So that is 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then their dog the 8th. So you have the 8th figure here, graphically, 7, 8. So here we have represented graphically all the figures which are mentioned in Surah Al-Kahf. And these figures, if we look at it carefully, we'll see that we can write something very interesting. And I'm going to use a black ink here. We can draw and link the various parts. Right? Can link the various parts, something like that. Then next one, we link this one, and here we have the link there, and then we can also link this one that way. And we finish off here. We'll put a little that. You see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written His name with the figures in Surah Al-Kahf. You see, if you write Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, straight away, same thing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written His name. So if we decide to fold paper in the same way, in such a way that the 4 lines of this paper will give the word Allah in the same calligraphy, like this, name of Allah, then we'll see what happens when we fold the paper. So here I've got some kind of scrap sheet of paper there. Now I'm going to fold the paper so the 4 lines will give the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So start from the top right hand corner and fold right to the left, like you see there. Then you take the left side and make a trapezium with a kind of pyramid head there, and then you remove the symmetry by folding down the middle, and then you fold this structure into three. So you fold that way into three, and you have the structure here. Now when you unleash that particular structure, which I did earlier, see, you can now draw lines which will indicate the name of Allah in the same way which was written by the ayat in Surah Al-Kahf. See there. And now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one and only, cannot be divided. So we must not divide him. Don't say Father, Son, Holy Spirit, or Krishna, Ganesh, Vishnu, or whatever. It's only one Allah. Qul huwa Allahu ahad. Say he is Allah, the one and only, like it says in the first commandment in the book of Exodus. Now let us see what happens if we cut Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as written here. So we're going to use a scissors, pair of scissors, and we cut what is here. We cut there. So now I'll cut the other one here around the fold lines. So we cut. So if you cut off Allah, then what happens is your symbol, your religious symbol, now becomes a cross. See? No, let's start that. See? Becomes a cross. You no longer be following the one true God, you have a false symbol. And this other little pieces of paper also illustrates something which is associated with that. Because if you follow the cross and you start following all what goes along with it, where does that lead you? And that's what we'll see from these pieces of paper. Just open up everything, right? Open up everything. Every piece is important. Now, if you follow the cross, where it leads you is, we write it down here. Let me stretch off the carpet. Write it down here. This is capital H with the cross there. Then we put this letter here, this one there, with the other tooth here. So that is E, and then we'll have the letter L here and the letter L here. So if you follow the cross, as you can see, it leads you to a place called hell. So see, hell. Now, what is in hell? In hell, you have something which we call F I R E. F-I-R-E. In hell, you have something called F-I-R-E, which is fire. In hell, you've got fire. Or sometimes you can write it in a different way. You can put it in a different way. You put F-E, put the E there. And U, F-E-U, that's U. F-E-U is feu in the language, in French. Or you can start from the right, and you put Aleph there with a make it as long. Then you have Lam, and you have the Nunu, which is in the middle. So you have to make it in such a way that it's just a kink with the dot on top of it. So that is Nunu. You have the Aleph, which prolongs the sound. And I have the Rayun. There you have Annar. So the lesson is, don't split up Allah. If you do, you end up having the cross as your religious symbol, and that cross would lead you to a place called hell, in which you have something called fire, or feu, or Annar, and that is not a pleasant thing. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us and protect us from this. Alhamdulillah, khairu kalam, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.